Now, shipping companies are bracing for weeks of disruption to their normal routes after several of them announced they would avoid passing through the Red Sea. This follows multiple attacks on shipping by Yemen-based Houthi rebels. The United States has revealed it's considering designating the Houthis as a terrorist group. The National Security Council has said the issue is now under review. Here's our business reporter, David Waddell.
These attacks have had a huge impact. Here's one. This video by the Houthis shows them storming a British-registered cargo ship last month. In recent days, the escalation of attacks have encouraged a series of shipping companies to announce they would suspend their movements through the Red Sea and embark on the much longer passage around the southern tip of Africa. That's costing time and money and a huge impact on carbon emissions. The attacks have been widely denounced. The US, the European Union, NATO and several countries, including Yemen, have issued a joint statement of condemnation. They said there is no justification for these attacks, which affect many countries beyond the flags these ships sail under. And they called on all states to refrain from facilitation or encouragement of the Houthis. The US National Security Council is now reviewing the status of the Houthi rebels, with mounting concerns about the impact on the global economy.
These companies obviously have to make their own decisions based on the safety and security of their vessels and their crews, and we respect that. But I think it's just too soon to know what kind of impact it's actually going to have on the global economy. That's why, quite frankly, because we're trying to get ahead of the problem set here, that's why we're standing up this coalition and trying to flesh it out and be able to counter these threats so that transit through the Red Sea can be safer and more secure than it is right now.
The Houthis say the international coalition formed to protect shipping through the Red Sea is an integral part of aggression against the Palestinian people, Gaza and the Arab and Islamic nations.
David Waddell there. Well, I discussed what's at stake with Joshua Mahoney. He's Chief Market Analyst at Scope Markets. I asked him for his thoughts on the supply chain challenge that has escalated in recent days.
Ultimately, we're looking at something that is the biggest disruption since that 2021 crisis where we saw the Ever Given stuck sideways in the Suez Canal. Everyone at the time remembers it and sort of remembers the impact on global trade, but certainly that lasted 1 week and looking forward now, we're looking at a perspective for a long drawn out problem that really faces very little in terms of easy solutions. You do have the potential for this sort of 10-strong coalition to move into the area, and that has provided some respite in terms of market fears. We did see oil prices come off a little bit off of that, but certainly I think there's going to be problems in trying to enact that, and until we see that area created into a sort of safe zone, you're going to see these continued long-haul journeys around the south of Africa, and that's going to impact the supply of everything from grains to oils to cars, and certainly that provides the basis for a difficult environment for people around the world when it comes to the possibility for greater inflation. That's going to be a big worry for the markets.
Well, I was just looking at some of the detail here because I've got statistics here that says the price to ship a container now from China to the Mediterranean has gone up by 44% in December. And we know that shipping prices have been high anyway, unusually high since the pandemic, coming down obviously in recent months. But still, it was a real issue for many big retailers, the cost of shipping stuff around. It will get passed on to us all, won't it?
It will. I mean, there's a number of elements to this, of course. This is going to lower the availability of ships. It's going to increase the cost of hiring a ship. If someone has one that they're supposed to be taking up and moving a good within, a week's time, it's probably not going to come in a week because this adds 7 to 14 days of travel between Asia and Europe. So suddenly they're not going to arrive on time. And this really does back up over time. If you look back to that 2021 crisis, once again, it came at a time when we did have particularly tight supply concerns at that moment. We don't necessarily have that at the moment, so there is some leeway, but I would say that gradually this could become more and more of an issue, and certainly if there the Houthi rebels are essentially saying they need the Israeli incursion into Gaza to end for them to stop these attacks, then this promises to be a much more drawn out process compared to what happened in 2021, when they essentially had a number of ships just waiting for it to clear up, and that's when they passed through. This could be a much bigger problem.